Today I want to talk about something that's been on my mind for quite a while. Why do some people get annoyed, frustrated, or even hostile when you try to communicate in an emotionally mature and intentional way? If you ever put effort into saying things in a way that's clear, thoughtful, and doesn't shut people down, only to have someone roll their eyes or act like you're doing too much, you're not alone. In this video, we're going to break down why this happens, using research-backed insights, and I'll also give you some strategies to navigate these interactions. Let's get into it. The first thing to understand is that a lot of people don't communicate with intentionality. They rely on autopilot, saying whatever comes to mind, reacting emotionally, or using communication as a tool to assert power rather than to connect with people. When you approach conversations with depth and clarity, it can feel foreign or even exhausting to them. Let's break down some of the psychological reasons behind this. A factor at play here could be attachment theory, which looks at how our early relationships shape the way we interact with others. Research on attachment styles suggests that people with avoidant attachment often struggle with emotionally mature conversations because they've been conditioned to see emotional expression as an uncomfortable, unnecessary, or even threatening. If someone grew up in an environment where emotional discussions were dismissed or discouraged, they might automatically shut down or resist when you try to engage in a deeper conversation. They may not even realize they're doing this. It's just what feels comfortable and familiar to them. On the flip side, people who have a secure attachment style tend to be more receptive to emotionally mature conversations because they've had early experiences where emotions were acknowledged and valued. If you're feeling frustrated that someone keeps dismissing your efforts, it might not be about you. It could be how they've been wired to interact. There's more research in this in Dr. Marshall Rosenberg's Nonviolent Communication Framework. This is a well-researched method for improving interpersonal communication. The approach focuses on expressing observations, feelings, needs, and requests in a way that fosters connection rather than conflict. However, for people who aren't accustomed to this kind of communication, it can feel unnatural or even manipulative. They may see it as overly structured or unnecessary, particularly if they're used to being blunt or defensive. This resistance doesn't mean that nonviolent communication isn't effective. It just means that people often struggle with unfamiliar ways of communicating. Let's be real. Emotionally mature conversations require a lot of effort. They involve listening, processing emotions, and sometimes challenging our own assumptions. And some people simply don't want to do that type of work. For people who are used to surface level interactions or communication that revolves around defensiveness and blame, an emotionally intelligent conversation can feel like extra emotional labor. They might see it as tedious, unnecessary, or even manipulative because they're not used to someone actually trying to communicate with care and nuance. And that's where the disconnect actually happens. You're coming into the conversation trying to create clarity and connection, but they're experiencing it as work. And people resist work they didn't sign up for. So now that we understand why this happens, here's how we navigate it. Number one, recognize who is capable of emotionally mature conversations. Not everyone is ready or willing to engage at the level you do, and that's okay. Pay attention to patterns. If someone consistently dismisses or resists deeper conversations, you might need to adjust your expectations instead of trying to force it. Number two, keep it concise and direct. Some people tune out if conversation feels too deep or drawn out. If they resist nuance, simplify your message without compromising clarity. Instead of explaining why you communicate a certain way, just say what needs to be said in a straightforward manner. Number three, call out dismissiveness without escalation. If someone is rolling their eyes or brushing off what you're saying, you can acknowledge it without getting defensive. This puts the responsibility on them to either engage or disengage without making it a fight. Number four, detach from their limitations. If someone is dismissive, that's a reflection of their emotional capacity, not a reflection of whether your communication style is valid. Some people aren't ready for the level of engagement you bring, and that's their reality, not yours. Seek out people who do value thoughtful communication. You don't have to force people to value emotionally mature conversations. You just have to find the ones who already do. Surround yourself with people who appreciate depth, intentionality, and clarity, so you're not constantly trying to pull people in a conversation they don't want to have. If you've ever felt like people get annoyed with you just for trying to communicate well, I hope this video helped you understand why that happens and what you can do about it. Let me know in the comments if you have ever experienced this. How did you handle it? If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.